And welcome back to Manfield Night for some more high-octane Saturday primetime gameplay here at the MLE Esports channel, presented by APM Music. We have some cracking series going on currently, one over on the B stream, one here on the main stream, but we've already had one here on the main stream, a very high playoff implication level series, and it went in the favour of the Blizzard, stealing it away from the Eclipse, taking them out of playoff contention. But now we move to another two teams in the Academy League looking to vie for playoffs. Beside me is Inanimate J, and Inanimate J, we have a big series here for the Ducks.
This is as simple as it gets for the Ducks. Win this series and you make it to the playoffs for them. A 3-2 win or better is enough to get it in. A 4-1 would ignore all kinds of tiebreakers because the Eclipse have fallen to the Blizzard. A 3-2 now, good enough to see them through in as one of the three wildcards in the Blue Conference.
Yeah, and the roster we are seeing today is a very interesting one. The Schnoz and Flying High for the Ducks. A roster we've seen a couple of times this season. Schnoz being the big standout player here for them, looking with a 1.63 average goals per game and a 4.69 average MVPR, has been one of the strongest proponents of this Ducks roster all season long, alongside Flaming Truck, who was the other highest MVPR and goal scorer on the team, has really done an amazing job really bringing this Ducks roster to the position they're in now, and maybe looking to be the one to drive it home as we get into the final game of the season.
And on the other side of the field, though, for the Aviators, Darth Red Raider coming out of the Foundation League team for the Aviators, getting promoted to the starting roster on the AL team with a couple of weeks to go in the regular season. Just getting a bit of a run out here, not a lot left to play for the Aviators, except to try and take the Ducks' playoff hopes offline the same way the Blizzard did to the Eclipse in the last round. 5 games ahead of us on Manfield Night, probably the best looking stadium in all of Rocket League.
Oh yeah.
And I for one am willing to bet on the underdogs here. I feel like the Aviators, if they can do what the Blizzard did last game, get out in front early, might just be enough to put a seed of doubt in the minds of the Ducks.
Yeah, there's a lot riding on this series for both teams. Really, the Aviators, they want to play like the Blizzard, but they have a rank out on their team, an FL rank out, and they have Midget, who has been a very solid, if average, Academy League player, and that's a great start for the Ducks. That's the opposite of what the Aviators wanted, as the Schnoz will send that one home.
What a touch, too, by the Schnoz, just putting the Aviators defense in a tough spot. Darth Red Raider diving into the first challenge, didn't quite get any of that ball from Flying High, who managed to put that one outwards. It was a great reaction too by Schnoz to get up, puts Midget on the back foot defensively, couldn't get contact, and the Ducks start this one where they want to.
Yeah, but the Aviators starting to mount some offense of their own. Darth Red Raider almost teeing that one up for Midget, but couldn't find the touch. Schnoz again with a good clear, looking for the double tap, couldn't find it off the backboard. And the Aviators penned in their own half here at the beginning of game number 1. It's not what they would want, but Midget's clear will try and tee up some pressure onto the Ducks' half. But again, Schnoz, their reading, almost getting the dunk onto the net, and Flying High shot will also go off of the backboard and away. The Aviators giving a breath of fresh air here as they're able to get into the Ducks' half.
It's unfortunate, though. They had the Ducks in full retreat, and that shot by Midget down midfield, trying to just get that one-timer on net as the Ducks rotated back. Maybe control that one just a little bit longer, force the defender into Schnoz to make a decision to come or just shadow that play back. Maybe would have been able to induce a mistake, and instead, just an easy clear for the Ducks team.
Yeah, and now looking to try and build from their own half. Flying High will send this one long. Midget will get the first touch and grabs the boost in the corner. Here comes Schnoz though, puts that one off target, but it did threaten going in. Darth Red Raider allowing Midget to get the touch here and get the clearance away as he looks to try and send this one forward. The party boost absolutely annoying the hell out of me, but I love it nonetheless as the Aviators look to try and build an attack here.
Well, how about the motor mouth engine sound to go with it too?
Oh, it's horrific. It's actually horrific. He messaged me beforehand to try not to be too much of an aggressive commentator towards him, to put it mildly. And right now, I am finding no reason not to be. He has got nothing but anger-inducing things on his car. But we'll now look to try and control the ball in the midfield and send it forward. Schnoz, good read, will tee that one up, and we'll look to get the next touch. But a good dunk from Darth Red Raider, and the battle in the midfield has really been the key so far for both teams.
It's been one good goal out of midfield for the Ducks that separate these two teams right now. And I think it's going to come down to the Aviators recognizing how much space the Ducks are willing to give them in midfield. The Schnoz really willing to just wait back, let that first ball come in towards them before making that play. And it seems to be the tendency out of a lot of these teams in Academy League to just play that possession away from themselves to kind of force teams to try and track back. But if the team's already back, that dump and chase style of play, it doesn't work so well because it comes right back at you so quickly.
Yeah, good challenge here from Midget. Will tee up Darth Red Raider for a bit of control here. Will grab the boost as he goes through. Looks to tee it up, but a good challenge from Schnoz going over the top of him now in a 1v1 situation himself, but loses control of the ball and will give the Aviators a free clearance away. They will get the ball to the halfway line, but again, Schnoz, good rotation in. Will try to go past the first defender, but a good challenge from Darth Red Raider. Keep that one out. I don't think Midget was ready there to make that save. Now maybe looking to try and get another opportunity, but flying high. Can't find a way past Midget, and both defenses have looked quite stalwart so far. No real mistakes coming out, bar the one that led to the first goal, and really that is maybe the most crucial part of this entire first game.
I think this is the type of game when you run into a player like the Schnoz who seems to have a little bit better understanding of the game at a macro level, being able to understand where players are going to put that ball, where they're going to be moving their cars, how much boost they have in their tank, how much space they have to challenge, just like that. It's so difficult to play against a player like this when they just kind of have that understanding. The recovery straight down to buy that space to jump up at a better angle than Midget takes to that. Just a little too long from the Aviators defense creates so much space for the Schnoz to take advantage of.
In a word, game sense. That is basically the summary of why the Schnoz has been one of the best players in Academy League all season, and why he has been driving the Ducks to a position alongside Flaming Truck to a position where they are able in Academy League to get a playoff opportunity. Darth Red Raider almost finding the back of the net there. Big underdogs here are the Aviators. They come into this off of the back of their first meeting with this pairing, or the first meeting with the Ducks, my apologies, where they did come away with a 3-2 win, but a lot has changed since the beginning of the season, and really the Ducks have been able to thrive whilst the Aviators have sort of stagnated and been unable to evolve to the rapidly increasing level of play in Academy League.
I think a lot of that just comes down to certain players being able to adapt to the game a little bit better. This type of league, there's a lot to be taken seriously in this league, but at the same time, there's a lot to be said about balancing development of a player with real life commitments. A lot of the players in this league, with jobs, with families, things to take care of, as well as just playing Rocket League. And sometimes you get players that just have that ability to develop and really shine, and you have others that get the same kind of level of play and just can't quite find a way through for whatever reason, be it time or dedication to being it. That doesn't mean that they're not good players in their own sense. It just means that sometimes over the course of 12 weeks and 14 matches, there's just other teams that can get that much further in front of you.
Yeah, and in the case of game number one, the Ducks looked the better team, and they come away with the game one win. A great performance there from the Schnoz to tee up most of that offensive capabilities to the Ducks. A strong midfield performance as well from both teams. No team looking necessarily weaker than the other, but definitely there feels like there is a player on the field that is doing a lot of the work for the Ducks.
And a lot of that just comes down to the Aviators' strength of possession. Right now, it's quite weak. The touches they're getting, they leave themselves a lot of work to do to catch up to it. The Schnoz is playing off that to perfection, essentially. Drop back into space, know how much distance that ball is going to cover with, not accurate, like not a high level of accuracy, but just a general idea of where that ball is going to come down to, because you understand what's possible for the defense to do with what they're able to do with their cars. And being able to play off that makes you such a strong player for your level, because at that point, when you understand that game at that level, it's really just about developing mechanical consistency to really skyrocket in terms of skill.
Yeah, and looking now to the division, that win takes the Ducks to 36-30 overall. They are now 2 games away from securing a playoff spot for this season, and really that is almost the perfect story for them. They needed to come away with a big win here. They've started things off right. Can they keep the momentum going, or are we about to see the Aviators claw their way back into this series? Game number 2 gets underway, and the 50 will go in favor, I believe, for the Aviators.
It has to. That long, slow ball up in the air, just giving... Oh, man. it's in favor of the Aviators, but not really because they don't contest it. Fallen. Deschnaz, again, all that space to read that ball. No challenge at all. Midget trying to get a read, can't get there. Darth Red Raider makes contact, but it's not good enough. And off that kickoff, the Aviators just fall away from that ball and lets the Schnoz take over.
And again, that just a repeat of game number 1. Schnoz with a long ball from the midfield, getting it over the last defender, who tries desperately to go up and read it. That level of aerial ability that we have seen out of Schnoz so far has really been crucial to the Ducks' success. And again now, trying to play a grounded gameplay, looks to tee that one off the side wall, but can't really get anything going. Midget will clear it long, and force Flying High to backtrack slightly. Midget, good first touch to try and get it around that corner, but again, Flying High with a great defensive rotation, able to read that well and clear it away. Schnoz now with a bit of time, bit of boost in the tank as well. Looking to go high, goes up the top, looks for the bump onto Midget, can't find him, and a good defensive clear from Midget to clear that one away and keep the Aviators only a goal behind as they start to pile on the pressure themselves.
This is going to be an important stanza for the Aviators here. If they can keep the Ducks in their own end for a little while, if they can maybe force a mistake out of Flying High after an initial play by Deschnaz, there's an opening to score here. But the longer they let Deschnaz get back into the play, the longer they allow the Ducks' rotation to take over, the more difficult they're going to find it to try and break the Ducks down in defense.
Yeah, and really, it all relies upon them being able to convert offensively. And we saw towards the back end of that game, they had a couple of opportunities, just unfortunately hit the crossbar and out. They weren't able to find the target as often as they would like. Midget will miss that ball, will find the boost. It will give Darth Red Raider enough time. He'll tee that one up in the air, but really not the place you want to be when Schnoz is set on defense, because he'll just be able to get up there before anything else. And now, as opportunities keep flooding in here, Midget will find the target under the bar. Brilliant aerial shot to tie the game up.
That touch by Darth Red Raider so important because it gets Flying High to dive out at that challenge. Deschnaz goes back to net, but it leaves the shooting angle open, and Midget does really well to keep this one high, but under the bar, sneaks it in, and the Aviators get on the board here in Game 2.
Yeah, and Midget being a good friend of mine, we do have a lot of banter between us, but there is no banter there. That was just a good shot. Schnoz with an uncharacteristic miss-save will tee up Flying High for a save, forcing him to get in front of that ball. But the Aviators, diving in challenge here from Darth Red Raider. Schnoz has time, goes for the aerial, gets the touch, but Midget, good defensive positioning there to keep that one away. Darth Red Raider with a good carry up the field. Looks for the bump onto Schnoz and almost found it. That could have been a goal for the Aviators. But now, forced back on defense. Schnoz gets the fake, gets the 50, but can't put it on target. No boost to work with. The Aviators will hold momentarily, but can they keep this up forever? I don't think they can, especially when Flying High is reading them like that and almost burying that one into the corner.
That one comes off of a touch by Darth Red Raider. I like the idea, but the execution not so much, as the defensive touch off the backboard ends up falling right to midfield. Flying High had a chance to put that on target, just didn't quite have the direction finder in play for the Ducks on offense on that one. We're past halfway here, Fallen. It's again back and forth Rocket League, although the Aviators playing with fire a little bit here. No boost in the tank for Midget, and that's in a tough spot to try and defend.
Oh, he just will find that touch to turn it around the post. Hat trick of saves, getting him that Savior medal. But now, the Ducks starting to build on offense. They're starting to pen the Aviators in. Darth Red Raider now with no boost can't find a way past Flying High, who will grab that mid boost. And again, notice how the Aviators backed off there. Both of them needed that corner boost desperately before they could go up. And Midget was forced to turn away from the ball. So he didn't give away possession, but in turn gave away possession by going for boost. And now, the Ducks are able to bring it forward.
Conveniently, though, Deschnaz fell away from that possession at midfield all the same as the Aviators did, and it allowed Midget to get back up, challenge the space a little bit, to not give the Ducks an easy way through. That's the type of space control you need to make against a player like that. You don't have to challenge them directly, but just do enough to make them have to make a different decision other than to just drive that ball straight at you.
Yeah, and Darth Red Raider now will look to do exactly that. Driving the ball down the right-hand side of the field, but can't find a way past Flying High. Good 50 there from Flying to get it over the top of Midget. Maybe looking for an opportunity himself here, but is that a boost? We'll let Schnoz take control, but we'll take the boost on his rotation through. A good challenge over from Darth Red Raider, though. Brilliant positioning of his car there to keep that one away. We'll tee that one up above the net. Flying High barely getting a touch on that to tee it wide. And the Aviators, with 50 seconds remaining, they've looked a lot more in this game than they did game number 1. It has really been a much closer state of affairs, and they've been able to put a goal on target, so maybe if this does go to overtime, they will look a little bit more favourable.
I think the difficulty for them is they haven't really had sustained offensive forays into the Ducks end. They get one or two chances in transition, and that might be a recipe for success against the team that is more prone to these kind of plays, but the Ducks haven't been. They've been very good about falling back into space, so those fast break chances don't really amount to anything because they're very well positioned defensively.
Good challenge there from Midget to force that play to almost fall directly into Darth Vader Raider's hands. He'll get the pass to midfield. Schnoz, though, with a great read, will keep that one away. As the clock ticks to 0, it's up in the air. We know Schnoz can put these away. Looks for the double tap, but can't find the angle. We will go to overtime here in game number 2. And really, if anything is to show, this could easily be the Aviators' first game win.
Just comes down to which team blinks first and makes that fatal mistake to allow a goal to be scored. It might be the Aviators here. Darth Red Raiders out of booth, but just Schnoz won't make contact. Ends up going for the bump instead to try and open things up, but flying high, contested by Darth Red Raider at midfield, will not find a way to make that play count.
A great recovery from Darth Red Raider. Had no boost in the tank, forced to dive in with that challenge. 9 times out of 10, you don't make that. That finds the back of the net, and that's GG. But a great play from him to keep that one alive. And now an opportunity maybe for the Aviators. Midget will send that one towards the net. Schnoz slightly out of position here. Midget will tee that off the crossbar, and the Aviators will take game number 2 out of the blue.
Strong play here by Midget. Just gets Schnoz to commit to trying to dive back towards the net. The power slide, not able to recover on it in time as Midget's initial shot hits the post, recovers well to tip that one in. The Aviators, they'll even up the set here at 1-1. The Ducks still with 3 more chances to find 2 wins.
Yeah, and really, that is a massive win for every other team vying for playoffs right now. For the Foxes, for the Spartans, for the Knights, everything relies upon the Aviators doing a lot of work to keep the Ducks at such a low level of games won throughout the season. Right now, the Ducks now to a 36-31. It is still open for any of those teams that I previously mentioned to make it into playoffs, so 2 playoff spots remaining. The Sabres basically securing their 5th place at this point. It really comes down to which team here can come away with a big win in this season. And with Aviators taking games off of the Ducks, it's not looking too good for the Ducks.
It's still all in their own hands, though, as we get 3 games left in this set for the Ducks to just find 2 of them and make sure they find a way through. And I think the way this is set to play out here, the longer the Aviators keep this level, the better chances they have about finding a way through, because it just comes down to that one tiny mistake to open things up. For the Ducks, you just have to play a little bit more in the face of the Aviators here. And I think it's going to come down to flying high. It needs to activate a bit more from behind the Schnoz. Let Schnoz play that midfield game, get control of that one, but get in and get disruptive, because the Aviators, they haven't been very consistent with their touches, but when they get them, they're finding the way to transition in and put the Ducks under a bit of pressure.
As the kickoff goes in favor of the Aviators, they will get the first attack here. Midget immediately has it pinched all the way down the field. That one's dangerous for Darth Red Raider, but Schnoz will go up, can't find the angle, can't even find the touch, and the ball will be cleared away momentarily. The Aviators let off a little bit there from that not so great 50 from Midget, but they still find themselves on the defensive front. Here's a passing play, flying high though, cannot find the target. That is something he'll need to start doing more often if he wants to get the Ducks to playoffs.
Flying high, more like shooting high at this point. I think that's the 3rd or 4th shot we've seen them put off the crossbar.
I don't want to start calling people names, I'll be honest with you, Jay. That's more your field of expertise. But right now, the Ducks, they need to find their shooting boots. Schnoz needs to turn up on offense, or flying high needs to, because the Aviators, they're looking a little bit more composed on defense than they have done in previous series. And now, as this one tees up in front of the net, can they get there? Yes, they can. Darth Raider will find a way to block that one and keep it away. The Aviators holding on defense, but not breaking out.
The Schnoz with the ball on a string there in the corner, just kind of doing a lap around Darth Red Raider, but it opens up a spot for a good demo play to free up the chance for the Aviators to get upfield. Just can't quite get enough behind that shot, as eventually the recovery off the demo lets the Ducks clear their lines here. Still in play for the Aviators, although that one might just give them enough space to let the Ducks get that one clear. And that's a danger, I think, Fallen, for the Aviators right now. When they don't have a clear mechanical play to get that ball on a 2nd or 3rd phase, they just kind of let the Ducks play it back at them.
Yeah, I feel like it comes down to a confidence issue at times for the Aviators. They find themselves not wanting to contest Schnoz because they are so respectful of his ability in the air. They know he is mechanically maybe the best player on the field, if not guaranteed to be the best player on the field, in terms of just his aerial consistency and his ability to beat you in the air. They don't want to throw a man forward because they don't want to find themselves in a 1v1 situation against Schnoz. And there's Flying High trying to tee that one up for Schnoz, who had rotated out. I think that may have actually been a shot from him, only hitting the near post once again. The shooting boot's not on for Flying High, but maybe now the Aviators will find a way to put this one in off the backboard. Ducks to tee it up for Darth Red Raider. He'll get the shot, but a good challenge from Schnoz, and the Ducks look to break.
Big chance missed by the Aviators there. They had the Ducks net at their mercy, just couldn't find a way to get the good contact on the ball. Here's one more chance. Darth Red Raider can't get behind. He gets to the wrong side of it. Still in play, though. Midget will put the Aviators in the lead. It's a 1-0 game.
Flying High again, not able to find the touch, this time on his own defensive side. The bounce caught him off guard. Somehow bounced upward when it looked like it came straight off of the side wall. And the Aviators, they lead game number 3 here. My voice is going because of how intense this gameplay is.
To be a bit critical of Schnoz on that one, a little too much faith that that ball would bounce out at an angle, that the Aviators couldn't follow it up, rotated upfield instead of falling behind Flying High to maybe be a safety valve across the net. Had all the boost to play with there, just didn't opt to make the defensive rotation, and why the Ducks are now down 1-0.
Yeah, and for the people in chat that are wondering, yes, Darth Red Raider is actually a starter now for the Aviators. Got moved to a starter position after ranking out from the Foundation League team, really proving his own that he definitely deserved to be ranked out into Academy League. And now looking to try and send this one forward. Looks to try and beat out Flying High. It'll go underneath him, but Schnoz, good rotation in there to keep that ball out of the Aviators' possession. Now looks for a shot. The near post, and Midget has to dive in and make that save. The Aviators holding on defense and now looking to break on offense. That one's out in front of the net, but neither player can get the read. That will tee up Flying High with an open net. Miscommunication from the Aviators has teed up the Ducks once again. They find a goal and they are tied.
It's just unfortunate for the Aviators. They had the Ducks kind of at their mercy. Flying High was already past the play. Schnoz not needing to come out to that one, as it just kind of bounced down in a spot where neither Aviators player felt comfortable playing the ball. Ends up bouncing all the way past both of them for Flying High to just take that one from the midfield boost grab and drive it right in, tie game.
Yeah, absolutely everything that the Ducks needed there, and they now need to start building on that. Start making those counter-attacking attacks, because time after time you'll find that Aviators are a little slower on defensive rotations. There's Flying High shooting boots. He's found them, he's put them on, fitted them at the pit stop, and has sent this one back in favour of the Ducks, 2-1.
Big 50 as well to set that up. The Schnoz diving in, I think, forced Midget into making a decision. Works out for the Ducks. That double commit actually paying dividends on that one because it comes at a good time, forcing the second player to have to make that decision to come across defensively to try and clear the chance away.
Now Schnoz are going to bring this one forward. The Ducks starting to open up a little bit on offense. Schnoz looking maybe for a demo there across the net, but couldn't find one. Darth Red Raider looking to try and clear this one away, but a good challenge from Schnoz will keep this one in possession of the Ducks, but he can't find the touch that he would like. Will be bumped into the Aviators net as Midget is having to bring that one forward to the only defender, Flying High, but a good play there from him to keep that ball firmly out of the Ducks' half. 2-1 for the Ducks. Looking to be 3. A good save from Midget will keep that one out. 40 seconds remain. Can the Aviators find another goal to take this one to overtime? No. I feel they need 2 now to take it to overtime, but Schnoz sends that one home.
Unfortunately for Midget, caught in net without boost. Darth Red Raider trying desperately to get the 50, just can't get enough behind the ball. Flying High keeps it alive. The Schnoz on the doorstep, making it 3-1. The Aviators tried to keep it close. They had the opportunities fallen, just ultimately not quite enough. As we saw that the one chance to put the Ducks up 2-1, just coming off of an Aviators play where they just couldn't find a way to play it. Now having to play from behind, just seeming to be such a struggle for them at the moment.
Yeah, they're having to play so much more defense, and really, the Ducks have done exactly what you asked of them. They're starting to play in the face of the Aviators. They're pressuring them, keeping that boost stolen consistently. They are just dominating the midfield and dominating the entire field by extension. Flying High with a good save there to keep that one out. Darth Red Raider with limited boost has to try and get it over the top of Flying High, but he can't. Game number 3 will go to the Ducks regardless if that one goes in. It won't. And 3 goals to 1 here for the Ducks. They have looked a lot better in the back half of that game, but again, still not necessarily so shored up in their overall play here.
It was close for a little while there. The Aviators got themselves in front. If not for that one mistake on offense where the ball kind of came off the backboard in between both Aviators players, let Flying High take it in for a relatively open 2-1 lead. This game could have gone either way. It really wasn't a dominant performance by the Ducks. They got a little more aggressive. They put the Aviators under pressure, and now they just need to keep this up. They need to make sure the Aviators don't have a way to win the next game to put their playoffs in doubt. They just need to get job done here, keep the pressure on, keep making it awkward for the Aviators, and find their way through into the wildcard spot.
Yeah, and the Ducks now 1 game away from basically securing that spot. They are looking so much more composed than the Aviators in terms of just being able to transfer from defense to offense. Really, the Aviators have looked a little bit shaky coming back onto defense, but they've been good on going on to offense. If they can start maybe opening up that midfield a little bit more, the Aviators can find a way to take game number 2 here, also game number 4 here, just like they did game number 2. And really, this series is still all to play for both teams. I'm wanting to see more from the Aviators. I'm wanting to see more pressure, more aggression, and really for them to take this series by its horns.
It's hard, I think, because Darth Red Raider has had the tendency of, when they're getting aggressive, they've just kind of mistimed it a lot and left Midget in a really difficult spot against a mechanically gifted player in Schnoz, as well as Flying High being a very good safety valve in a lot of aspects. As Darth Red Raider looking to set that one up, Midget actually will find a way through. It's just awkward enough that the Ducks can't deal with it. Aviators lead early here.
Great play here from Darth Red Raider. He does twofold there. He forces Schnoz back into his own net, and then just the 50 game there from Midget was absolutely superb. Positions his car in a way that there was no way Schnoz could have kept him out if he tried. A brilliant placement from Midget to send the Aviators up 1 again. This is the third game in a row they've taken the lead early on. Can they keep this one is the question. They haven't been able to for any of the other games, but maybe now would be the perfect time to shore up that defense and make sure that the Ducks don't find a way to get back into this one.
I think it comes down to 2 things. One, Midget needs to be a little bit more personally responsible with the ball, because Darth Red Raider's tendency to get stuck in awkward spots is pretty high at this point. Case in point right there. Can't get the read, can't keep the ball in the Ducks' end. 2-on-0, and it's a 1-1 game.
Yeah, Flying High there. I think he was looking for a pass to Schnoz, who missed the ball, and I honestly thought he'd put it against the post with how hard he hooked that shot. But putting it home, the Ducks equalise, and again, the mistake on overcommitting has cost the Aviators dearly here. Now off the kickoff, we'll see if they're able to get a better kickoff. They will do so. It'll go in favour of Midget, who, with limited boost in the tank, will look to try and control this one, but gets outpaced and beaten on the wall by Flying High, who will then beat out Darth Red Raider to send that one home. It's 2-1 Ducks once again.
Tough here for the Aviators. They just never get a chance to close this one down. Darth Red Raiders trying to get there, the last-ditch attempt to win the 50 upfield. That's a dangerous place to be as the last player in a 2's rotation a lot of the time. It needs to be perfect to make sure that you don't end up in the situation exactly like that, where the Ducks have another walk-in. Might have a third one here off the kickoff. Big 50 to set things up. Flying High will keep it in danger. The Schnoz looking for a big save, though, by Darth Red Raider, just canceling out the momentum of that ball.
Brilliant play there from both players, not overcommitting on that touch there. They knew that they were in danger, but Midget not committing with Darth Red Raider, letting him make that clear and then pushing up with him to try and set something up. But a good demo there from Schnoz will tee up an open net opportunity for Flying High. He gets his hat trick inside a minute and a half and really has looked a much better player here in game number 4 than he has done throughout the rest of this series.
Tough spot to be in for the Aviators defense. Darth Red Raiders initial cleared, too much power on it, not able to get the car behind that one to keep it under control. So it gets contested by Flying High, keeps it alive, puts it in the open net off a great demo play in the backfield by the Schnoz on Midget. And it's just almost job done for the Ducks, but not quite. There's still a lot of time left to play for here, and that's the danger of early leads. If you let a team get back into it, if they find a foothold, maybe they just do enough to put you under pressure, and it's harder to get things under wraps for your playoffs.
Yeah, Darth Red Raider looking to take this one forward. Good 50 with Schnoz. I'll tee up in the midfield. Midget will get there first. That one's just off target. And off the backboard, Schnoz commits. Doesn't find the touch, and neither does Darth Red Raider. Not able to find the touch that he wants. And the Ducks able to reset here on defense. Maybe push up for an attack. Good 50 there from Darth Red Raider. Tees up Midget with a bit of an open net opportunity. He'll take it slowly. And Schnoz will be able to rotate back and make the save again. the Ducks just a little bit too quick on that rotation back for the Aviators. They're not able to capitalize. Schnoz almost buries that one home at the near post.
Some of the reason that the Aviators can't capitalize is they take their opportunities a bit too quickly. You saw that last shot by Midget was first time, had an opportunity, I think, to dribble that ball and take another couple of touches before shooting that one on net. Because that shot comes in first time, the Schnoz has a very predictable line to take, knows that the shot's coming in, can just make the decision to make the save, rather than have to understand what Midget's going to do because there's a little more control of the ball.
And that clear from Schnoz may be crucial, sending that ball so far down. The Aviators double commit there on defense, and Flying High will put it home. 4-1 for the Ducks, just a series of unfortunate events leading to that goal, and a great shot to finish it off from Flying High. Almost misread that.
Yeah, the team bump for the Aviators not doing them any favors as the Schnoz able to win that battle in the corner. One player past two defenders in the corner. Always a recipe for success when it comes to two's environment. And I think the Ducks might just have enough here to see them through. The Aviators haven't scored a lot, although they'll take a gift on that one. Darth Red Raider on the score sheet as that ball gets awkward for the Ducks.
I need to rewatch this to figure out what happens. Darth Red Raider with a good shot. Schnoz hits it into Flying High, who sends that one home with an absolute banger of a redirect. The Ducks scoring their 5th goal of the game, but this time on their own net. The Aviators are now trailing only by 2. They're still firmly within a chance of winning this. We've got 1:50 left, and they're looking to get a third goal here. Darth Red Raider can't force it home, though. Good defense from Schnoz to keep that one out, but the pressure's still mounting. Darth Red Raider with a good shot again. Flying High this time, back on defense. There's only so many chances like that you can afford to let them save before you have to put one in.
Unfortunately, on that initial play where they went left to right across the goal, Midget trying to dribble in, Darth Red Raider I think took a little too long to commit on that one and let the Ducks get the angle in. I'm sure that Midget would have been calling in comms, take it, and just never ended up getting that shot away. And now, almost turned in for a 5th goal. The Schnoz taking their time, knowing the net's open. As the Aviators starting to panic with their defensive touches here under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Flying High looking to tip that one down, but a good save from Darth Red Raider. Clears it to the midfield line. It'll allow Midget to get the boost, grab some time. Looking to carry this one, maybe looking for a flick. Finds the flick, but again, Schnoz just reading it like a book. Sending it downfield is Flying High. The Ducks looking so strong on defense now, it feels like they're almost impenetrable, except for their own mistakes, where they send it into their own net.
That touch a good one, although Darth Red Raider went so far back on the play, believing that their teammate was absolutely done for at the midfield line. It was a great touch by Midget to kind of bamboozle the initial challenge by Schnoz, but the comms breaking down for the Aviators here. The defense breaking down as well. The Schnoz with the 5-2 goal might just seal the playoffs here for the Ducks.
Absolutely a great goal for Schnoz there, just tipping it the far side of Midget. There's no way he'd get up for that. And a great placement as well, bottom left corner, just to be on the safe side. You don't want to send it too far middle, you want to head it for the near post, just in case the other defender decides to run back at the speed of sound. But in the case of the Aviators, it has been a breakdown in terms of just defensive to offensive rotation that has really cost them here in game number 4.
In transition, they just haven't quite had themselves settle down here, and it's a really unfortunate, I think, for them, because they had enough, in my opinion, to stay with the Ducks. It just came down to a couple of little things for the Aviators where they just couldn't get it to come together for them long enough to keep them in the game. The Ducks secure their 3rd win of the series. They secure themselves a spot in the playoffs this season on the back of a big performance by Flying High. The Aviators one last chance to pull the Ducks down into maybe some seeding issues for the playoffs in this case, but a 4th win for the Ducks might go a long way towards maybe pulling themselves up a bit in that playoff race.
Yeah, currently the only team above the Ducks in terms of the position they can take is the Sabres, who are still waiting to play their series and are already at 39 wins, which is the only amount of wins that the Ducks can now manage. So unless the Sabres manage to get 5-0'd, there is very little hope for the Ducks to take that position in that playoff spot and take that top spot in the wildcard playoffs. But now they secure a guaranteed 7th at minimum. That is a very solid position for them to be in, and really, that could open up a lot of chances for them coming into playoffs. I mean, we've seen miracle runs before, and the Ducks, with that securing of that win, they look to try and set up their own little run in the playoffs coming into the playoff season. at the back end now as we come into the final week.
It's funny, too, because the wild cards, a lot of them come in just missing out on division titles. These are teams that, by and large, tend to be in the division hunt for a lot of the weeks of the season. In this case, not so much. The Ducks already out of the division hunt in the Sky Division, but no less out of the playoff hunt here. And I would expect against the number 2 seed, if 7th is all they manage, the second best division leader might just be a little bit on notice here, because the performance we're seeing out of the Ducks, while it has its drawbacks in a lot of cases, they're playing a really solid set of Rocket League at the moment.
Yeah, flying high, looking to clear this one away. To add on to that division pointer, they were sort of out of the division hunt for the division win a long time ago, mainly because the team at the top of the division were the Hawks, who are currently sat at 54-16 as the Ducks will find themselves now 1 goal behind already. Mitchell with a good read here off the sidewall to send that one home, and the Aviators get an early lead.
Well, it's another early lead for the Aviators. They haven't been able to hang on to them for long, though, as usually that early goal seems to wake up the Ducks a little bit. They go, okay, right, they can score on us here, so let's go back to doing the fundamentals right. Let's get the spacing right. Let's make sure that we have our possession under control here so that we don't give up these opportunities for the Aviators to turn around and put in the net.
Yeah, here comes Midget again, looking up the field, but Schnoz there first time for the read. Will look to try and take this one out of his own corner, but a good challenge from Darth Red Raider will tee that one in front of the net. Flying high, though, with a good clearance away, and Schnoz with just enough on that to send it home. The Ducks getting a good counter-attacking goal once again. A poor rotation from Midget, missing that back boost, and then having to go back for it. It cost him so much time and gave the Ducks that goal.
It really was a gift from the Aviators defense for the Ducks on that one, is the control for the Aviators in the Ducks end just breaking down. The first opportunity, the Ducks had to clear that one. They make it count. Darth Red Raider looking for one off the crossbar, has the open net to work with, can't get the nose down on it, just a little too close to that to really get power behind the shot, and it's unfortunate for the Aviators.
Schnoz there looking maybe for a demo, a good attempt, but a double commit there from the Aviators on offense. This could be crucial for the Ducks to try and break out and send this one down the field, but flying high, just letting Schnoz take control of the ball. Both players really close stacked together here. May not be beneficial for them in the long run, but they'll get a little fortunate with that bump cleared there. And now maybe the Ducks, forced on their own the hind legs here, can they find a way to break out? They can, and immediately pushing on for offense. Are they about to get their second goal of this game?
Do the Ducks have hind legs? I thought they really only had 2.
But, I mean, yeah, but for the sake of the analogy, they now have hind legs. There's not sense that one home.
4-legged Ducks should not be fallen. What have you done?
I have created a demon this day. Schnoz puts that one home, top corner. Great read with the area to put that one home. The Ducks lead once again in this series, and really, there was nothing else we could have expected. The Aviators have put up a great fight this series, but it felt like Schnoz, in all of his incredible skill for an Academy League player, has really been the driving force for the Ducks to get themselves in front in this series and dominate it like they were expected to. But Darth Red Raider will immediately shut me down and say, no, this one's not over yet. We're going to take game 5 if anything, if we can say anything about it.
Well, when the double commit doesn't work, it usually doesn't work spectacularly, as the double commit by the Ducks on the shot spins it off the base of the post. That lets Darth Red Raider take control of that one, drive it upfield into an open net. Now, don't look now. The Aviators still within touching distance of maybe taking a second game off this one, maybe putting a little bit of doubt in the minds of the Ducks whether or not they'll be able to get a 6th seed, or if they'll have to play the second best division winner in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, big thank you to the people who just gift subbed in chat. I just received a notification on my Twitch saying I got one, and it caught me really off guard. But that one, almost on target. I thought Flying High had buried that, but no, Darth Red Raider now with no boost gets the demo onto Schnoz, but couldn't find the shot, and Flying High with the rotation back onto the demo onto Midget will shore up any opportunity the Aviators getting a goal and make sure that the Ducks remain 2-2.
Good play by the Ducks coming back, knowing where the real danger is. Darth Red Raider had so much committed into the corner that it was really unlikely they'd get control of that ball and get it out into a shooting angle. Flying high from a shooting angle and a half in the corner. Really difficult angle. Gets just enough around Midget, who's diving in for that challenge, trying to take it away, knowing Darth Red Raider is struggling to get back defensively. That last-ditch effort not coming through. The Ducks will find another lead here in Game 5.
Yeah, a brilliant just display of accuracy there. That's such a hard angle to find from flying high, but he found it and made sure that Schnoz didn't steal his goal, which I think is a very important factor in any game. Most players really hate having their goal stolen, even though it makes little to no difference in terms of overall performance of the game, as long as that person who's stealing doesn't go on to miss the net, as many of us have probably had the misfortune of being on the receiving end of many a time. But Darth Red Raider now looking to try and send that one towards net. It's on target. Good save from flying high, and the pressure. The Aviators are starting to get some good offensive pressure and good offensive challenges. They're not rushing it, but they are playing quickly enough that they are throwing the Ducks a little bit off kilter on defense.
A little bit, but ultimately that final touch was a little bit too far out of control by Darth Red Raider. That gave the Ducks that clearance angle. That's the type of touch that you just need to have a little bit more control of, especially when you've already been scrambling in the opposition end for as long as you have. That one last touch that might end up skimming out to midfield to give an easy play for the defenders to clear away, and all of a sudden your offensive chance breaks down.
Schnoz getting that back boost steal will allow Midget to try and chase this one up the field. However, Darth Red Raider will dive in. That shot's just off target, and Schnoz with a pinch off his own post will clear that one just about to midfield as he hits a second touch in the air to make certain of it. 3-2 for the Ducks currently in game number 5. It's still all to play for. Good touch there from Darth Red Raider. That's teed up an open net. Can Midget get there first? No, he can't find the touch. That was the best opportunity that the Aviators have had all game long, and they could not find it when it mattered.
They absolutely needed that one. It was a foot race between Midget and Schnoz to track that ball down. Ultimately, Midget not making contact. The Schnoz didn't need to do anything but apply psychological pressure there. 12 seconds left for the Aviators to try and force overtime, to try and take one more game away from their playoff-bound division rivals. It might not come here, as the Ducks, through to Schnoz, will put 2 on the board. It's a 4-2 lead, and that just about seals Game 5.
Yep, that is pretty much the entirety of the series summarised right there. Both players trying desperately on the Aviators side to keep that one out, and Schnoz just taking his time, playing a little bit more passive on offense and just slotting it home to give the Ducks a 4-2 lead and a 4-1 win in the series. They secure playoffs without a shadow of a doubt now. They are into the playoffs for Season 11 and really have absolutely deserved it, especially with their performance here today.
Yeah, if this roster is the one that sees the Ducks in the playoffs, then I think a lot of teams might be on notice here. You just need to kind of figure out how to play against that dichotomy of the Schnoz and flying high, understanding that you will not have a ton of time to play the ball after your first touch, because if you don't have it under control, the Schnoz is going to be there. They know exactly where they need to be to pick up possession, to recycle it in such a way that continues to build pressure on your defensive end. So responsibilities are going to be high on individuals to keep that under control. For the Ducks, job done. For the Aviators, back to the drawing board as they see themselves on a 1-4 end to end their season.
Yeah, and it's not a bad ending when you look at just how they played overall. The series score doesn't necessarily reflect how most of these games were kind of close. Darth Red Raider and Midget definitely put in a very good stint here today and put up a good fight for this series. Taking that game 2, I believe it was, if I'm remembering correctly, really sort of taking the fight to the Ducks when many sort of wrote them off as maybe a 5-0 victim, but did a great job at really teeing up this series and doing a great job of just putting them to the sword and keeping them under pressure. Really, they've done a great job.
Yeah, it was a good performance by both of these teams. A number of those games really were closer than the scoreline and the series ended up being. We saw a couple of really good plays. Make sure you've got those ones clipped. Send them to us on Twitter at MLE Esports GG with the hashtag MLEPOTW. Submit them for the play of the week, presented by Balls Guarana Energy Soda. The winner each week that we presented getting a case of balls shipped to their doorstep free of charge by our friends at balls.com. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there's more action, this time in the Master League, as the Demolition will take on the Comets with playoff hopes on the line for the Demo. You don't want to go anywhere right after we show you the winner of last week's Play of the Week. Stay with us, folks. You're watching MLE live on twitch.tv.